it's going. All right, thank you guys for coming. We're going to kick this off. We're going to start. We got 2 minutes for candidate remarks first, and then we're going to get into questions. And then after the questions, there's going to be a Q&A. So you got 2 minutes to start. Just hand the microphone down after you're done.
What are we supposed to do?
This is just a candidate introduction.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah, and you can, if you don't mind speaking a little loud, that's just for the live stream.
Oh, okay. I'm Judy Coulter. I'm running for East Side Alderman, and I was born and raised here, left for a while, come back, retired here, and my whole goal is just to help the citizens out, keep costs down, and we've made big progress the last 2 years. Continue? Okay. We have made a lot of progress in the last 2 years. Like to see it continue. We've got grants going. And like I said, I'm just on here to support our citizens and keep everything down for them. And that's my whole goal, is to see progress in Mountain View.
Hey, I'm Bryce Cooper. I'm also running for East Side. I've been here my whole life. I've traveled a little bit, but I've never moved from this town. It's the place that I love. It's a place that I call home, and I plan to call home for a long time. Kind of like she said, I've seen a lot of good progress in the past few years, and I would like to see it continue.
I wrote down my introduction. It really hits on all the points that I want to hit on. My name is Toby Orchard. I'm a hometown boy, born and raised right here in Mountain View. This town is more than where I live. It's where my roots are planted. It's where my family is raised and where my faith and values are formed. I'm a family man with strong belief in Christianity, and those values guide the way I live, work, and serve others. In recent years, I've had the opportunity to work for the City of Mountain View in the Water Department. Serving our community in this role has allowed me to see how our city operates from the inside. I gained firsthand experience with the challenges our city faces and learned about the behind-the-scenes work that many citizens never see. That experience gave me a deeper understanding of our municipal government and strengthened my desire to serve our community in a greater way. I'm running for City Council Eastward Alderman because I want to help Mountain View. I want to help build Mountain View back to what it once was, and even better. I want my children and future generations to have the option to come back home and raise their families right here in Mountain View. To do that, we must focus on growth while holding on to values that make our town special. We need leadership that will work to bring new businesses into our community, fill our empty commercial buildings, and create opportunities for local families to thrive.
My name is Rick Thornton. I'm running for West Ward Alderman. I wasn't born here, wasn't raised here, but I've been coming here most of my life. I had family that moved down here in the 70s, so that's been my connection with it. I was out of high school. I went into fast food management, so I've had management experience, so I know about that. I was a truck driver most of my life, and after my driving career ended, I moved down here, which is what I'd wanted to do all my life. I'm not sure exactly what got me started, but I started going to all the council meetings, so I've watched this town through the city council for the last 10 years that I've lived down here. And I'd like to see this town get back to what it was during all the time that I was watching it, as I was, during my life of growing up and coming down here and wanting to see where it was. So that's pretty much where I am.
Thank you.
My name's Todd Mitchell. Most of you, everybody pretty much knows me. Been around here a long time. I'm trying to bring Mountain View back to the way it was in the 70s. We had Angelica running. We had the boat factory running, we had jobs. We had the charcoal kill on 60 and 17. Everybody could make money. It was I would like to get Mountain View back to what it used to be, where everybody was happy. So vote for me and we'll get it back done if we can.
I'm Karen Gaddy, and I'm not from Howell County originally. I've been here 40 years. I'm a retired paramedic and RN. I'm active on the Mountain View Family Youth Center Board. I serve on planning and zoning for the last 3 years, and I am the president of Mountain View Community Betterment. I signed up to run because working on planning and zoning, I saw that there were things that needed to be moving forward, and I want to be part of the solution. I moved here because Mountain View was such a progressive town, and I wanted to raise my kids here because there were things to keep them busy, and there were lots of jobs. Unfortunately, a lot of those jobs have gone away, and we do need to work on that. We have lots of problems. We've got good people here. We've got good employees in the city, and we need to all pull together and head back the other direction and see if we can't regain some of the things we've lost.
Hi, I'm John Krasuski, former alderman, former mayor of this great city. I've watched this city go by doing good, doing mistakes. Hey, nobody's perfect. Your town's not perfect. Nobody in here is perfect, but I think we're doing good. I think we've been doing good, and we can continue to do good. And as though most of you that do know me from the past political stance, that I stand for what people mostly want, you know, what do you call that, where you see through everything? Transparency of city government, and fairness, etc. I've lived here for many years. In fact, I've been here since '83, coming and going. All my children, 4, have graduated from high school here. Went through the schools, went through college, teach at the school, teach at the college. I've worked here for many businesses all through the Ozarks. So I'm very familiar with our problems. I used to work at another city in a farming community way back, and I did everything that our employees do at our city. Anything from tapping water mains in the freezing snow, whatever, to climbing poles and putting wire on. So I know what they go through. I know what our employees go through. I know what it takes to build a road, etc. So, and grants. I've procured grants all by myself way back. I've done grants for the city. I've trained people to do grants for the city. We've done plenty of grants while I was in there. But I do have a question for you, Devin.
No, we won't be. This is candid remarks.
Well, this is mandatory.
It's not.
How do you,
remarks.
Devin, how do you, I've been under orders to ask this.
I'm sorry, sir, but we're going to be.
You're going to restrict me from speaking?
Yes, this
In
is
this
candid
quorum?
remarks.
This is
There's
a
no
quorum.
Q&A right here. This is.
This is an open public meeting.
Thank you, sir.
And you don't want to hear it. Thank you. There you go, people. See what I'm up against. Right there.
Yeah, some people think they're special.
Good job, Mr. Unbiased.
Okay, so we are going to go into the question part of this. The first question will be, what are your top priorities for the town? And each person will have 1 minute.
Thank you. My top priorities, Devin, is we have reapplied for the road grant, and we've got a grant for the park that was lost 3 years ago, and so we've reapplied for that. My whole project, or whole goal is to keep the costs down for our citizens, plus our infrastructure has got to be built up. I know we have started a fund to put back so much money a month so that we can buy street equipment, so our street department will be able to buy what they need to fix the streets. Grants, our GBD was low, and we had to go out and go door to door to get that. And so now we're eligible for the grants again. So that's the whole thing, is get our grants going, keep the ones going that was lost, and we've got them back.
The question was, what are your top priorities for this town?
Okay. So I think as a bigger goal, like other people have said, restore it back to what it once was. Whenever I was younger, you were younger, semi-prosperous. Some would even say prosperous. As far as smaller goals, I think, fixing our roadways, reducing wear and tear on everything else, obviously, keeping our costs low so people actually want to come here. Maybe we get more jobs here, citizens. And to touch base on what she said, I think procuring and keeping the grants here and keeping them going should be a top priority to accomplish these other things.
My top priorities, 3 things: the roads, bringing in jobs, and investing in our kids. And what I mean by roads is everybody knows they need to be redone, and I don't want to contract it out. I would rather buy a 2-man paver so that we can use it in the future. I know it's an investment, but at some point we have to start investing in our future. They, like Judy hit on, they have completed the surveys, so we can work with SCOG now to get the grants done. Jobs, we got to give businesses incentives. Like Willow, they cut some of the corporations that came in breaks with their taxes. They not necessarily ate it all, but just coming out even, and that's investing for your future. And even a lower electric rate for the businesses the first year.
The question was, what are your top priorities for this town? 1 minute.
Okay, one of the first things that I think this town needs is, I've heard of the word drama used a lot as far as the city council. And the first thing that we need to do is get rid of the drama, which I believe I can. It's very easy, the drama and the bickering. If I'm in there, I already know, I've had a lot of conversations with the two councilmen or council ladies, whichever you want to use for words. And I believe that we can work very easily together. We can arrive at compromises and we can continue from there. If you don't have a united council, then it's very hard to work together. And depending on the person that's mayor, we can very easily work together. And if you have a united council, then you can move ahead as a city. A lot of the momentum has been brought together in the last year, even in spite of the fact of the challenges that they've had with that. Grants.
Mr. Mitchell, the question was, what are your top priorities for the town? 1 minute.
Well, we have land out White Highway. Why can't we put solar panels and figure out what we can do, get our electric bills cheaper, get our infrastructure where we're not dependent always on somebody else? That would be a good starting place. If we can't do that, we can move our industrial park out there and try to get jobs, because our industrial park is in a flood zone, and that's not going to work. Nobody can afford the insurance to build anything out there, and nobody is going to be able to do that. So that's a good starting point. And we're giving $7,000 some odd to the Budweiser and the Caterpillar and all that over there. Well, how about we bring that back to Mountain View in our industrial park, and we team up with Birch Tree and work with them instead of working elsewhere.
Thank you. Ms. Gabby, you've got 1 minute. The question was, what are the top priorities for this town?
One of the top priorities, as most everyone has hit on, is the roads that we presently have. Many of you probably don't know that I previously owned Gaddy Dump Trucking, and we've built highways all over the state of Missouri, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Texas for 3 years. I did not drive the trucks, but I went on the job sites, and I've seen how roads are supposed to be built. I agree that a lot of the things that we need to be doing, we could probably do in-house. I'm kind of hesitant to jump in and buy a bunch of paving equipment until we have trained people that know how to use that. But that is a viable opportunity. I do think that we need to stop the infighting between people.
Mr. Krasuski, 1 minute on the clock. The question is, what are your top priorities for this town? 1 minute.
Well, of course, what's on the surface? The roads. That is number one. Of course, as everyone's right. Everyone's got good ideas. I like every one of them that they come up with. That's great. We just need to combine all those ideas and get it together and do it. You've got to know the construction of roads. I'm glad you've had experience there. That counts. You've got to know how to do it. You've got to know how to get these through. You've got to know how to get the grants, get the money. The money is the key thing. We had grants ready to go before, but they disappeared when someone else took office. Hey, nothing I can do, but we have it, and we'll have them again. We'll reapply for the very same grants. They're all available to us. We qualify. So roads are first. Got to get the sewers done underneath them first. Of course, we did have that in play. Previous administration before me started the sewer work and roads. We followed through, and all we need to do is follow through again.
Okay, our next topic will be how will you support small businesses instead of just big corporations in Mountain View?
Are you prejudiced? Repeat that question.
The question was, how will you support small business instead of just large corporations inside Mountain View?
Large corporations is important, but the way I see, just like small factories against big factories, if we can get, it don't matter what size, but if we can get 3 or 4 small factories into Mountain View, that would be better than nothing. To get a big one in here, that would be great. But we've really got to work as a team, the council, the mayor, the city administrator, whoever, to get out there and really campaign. We have started a comprehensive plan through SCOCOGS, so we are working on that. And I think it went back to what, Karen, 1980-something, our last comprehensive plan. So we teamed up, SCOCOGS come, the planning and zoning come, and so we're working on that, which is very important. But the small business is very important. That's one reason we worked on electric rates, to keep them down. So there's important as the large.
Mr. Cooper, the question was, how will you support small business instead of just large corporations within Mountain View? Got 1 minute.
Well, I think the first step would be to obviously talk to these businesses, figure out what they need to come here. There's plenty of people on the board. We could figure out a way to negotiate and get actual jobs here. And as she mentioned, the small businesses are going to be just as important as the large ones. And the small businesses also have potential to turn into large corporations. And there's no better place to do that than here.
Mr. Orchard, the question was, how will you support small business instead of just large corporations within Mountain View?
You and I have talked about this a little bit. I think we need to have a liaison. They gather feedback on policies impacting small businesses and recommendations and improvements to. They gather feedback on policies impacting small businesses and recommend improvements to city leadership. They have connections with external resources such as small business development centers, I really feel like having a person like this would give our small businesses a voice, and many of them do not live inside the city limits.
Mr. Thornton, the question was, how will you support small business instead of just large corporations inside Mountain View?
We'll have to continue to do things like they did, as they did the electric rates, and work to keep the rates on the electric and any other bills in town as low as possible, and possibly even look into the small business incubator. I'm not exactly sure what all that entails in getting something like that started, but have things like that available to them and any resources, and get them connected with the Chamber of Commerce, and any resources that the Chamber may be able to come up with to help them get going and keep them going.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell, the question was, how will you support small business instead of just large corps inside Mountain View, Missouri?
We have to figure out, the people of Mountain View deserve decent paying jobs. So we would have a meeting, figure out the skill sets of the people that live in the town. Hey, what businesses fit all, so we could figure that out from a grassroots kind of a deal. Give new businesses a break on electric, on water, go from there. Willow did it, and they're doing pretty good. So we just figure it out from there. The people in the town all have different skill sets. We'll figure that out, you know what I mean? So that's my answer on that.
Thank you very much. Ms. Gaddy, how will you support small business instead of just large corps in Mountain View?
Well, I think first we all need to support the small business that we've got. We need to shop local instead of running to another town every time we think we need something. We've got several new businesses that have come into town. I like the fact that the chamber is doing spotlights on the different businesses. And I think that we all need to step up and let them know that they matter. We do need other businesses. We still have some areas that we need local businesses to address those. Mountain View operates on tax money, and the tax money comes from our small businesses. So the more money we spend here, the more money the city gets from those taxes. And I think we need to step it up and do a little better as citizens and support them.
Mr. Krasuski, the question is, how will you support small business instead of just large corporations in Mountain View?
First, you need to differentiate small business from big business. If Caterpillar decided to open up a plant right here in town, everybody'd be applying the next day, everybody. They'd be leaving the jobs they are in, and they'd be applying. So don't be just against big business. Big businesses have small entities to go to small towns and pick up workers, et cetera, and get production. So don't be one-sided there. Yes, support the business 100%. She's absolutely right. All of our money comes from a very small road tax, but other than that, comes from sales tax. That's what we need to support. We need to go against all this nonsense of they screwed up the electrical rates recently. We've got to correct that. You can't put it on the businesses. Businesses cannot support that and get sales tax to support the city. You got to be careful what you do there. So you get a 2% discount down at the bottom, but then burn the guys at the top. Doesn't work. So you got to keep the utility bills down. You got to give them incentives, any incentives possible, and bring them home.
All right, our next question will be, what could the city do to help local entrepreneurs succeed within our city limits?
To help our what? Would you read the last part of that again?
What could the city do to help local entrepreneurs succeed?
We have to keep their rates down. I really think they need a voice, maybe, excuse me, some kind of committee or something to bring the problems they're having in the city to the council so we could work with them. They're very important to our community, so we need to work with them as much as we can.
Thank you. Mr. Kruger, the question is, what could the city do to help local entrepreneurs succeed?
Well, I think she about covered everything I was going to say as well. Give them a voice, more of a voice, I should say, a place to address their concerns. And with the previous question, help me figure out what they need to operate here.
Thank you. Ms. Orchard, what could the city do to help local entrepreneurs succeed?
Just make it easier on them to get started, not harder. And making sure our infrastructure is up to par so that they can grow, like our roads, our power grid, the internet. That's all I have for that.
Mr. Porter, what could the city do to help local entrepreneurs succeed?
Well, they've covered most of it there. The Chamber of Commerce is going to be one of the big keys in that. I mean, does a lot for it, and building on what he said about the power grid and all that and the roads. One of the things that we're going to be able to do on that is go back, in the previous administration dropped the ball on all the grants, and they lost it in not being able to follow through with these surveys, which the current council went out and took care of and got that and has been able to do. We're going to be able to continue to get the grants and go back and get the audits that the previous administration dropped the ball on and didn't do. But we'll be able to do that, and by fixing the roads and getting the infrastructure up to par where it needs to be, then that will cause it to where people will actually see it and want to come to our town and support the local businesses. And that's by drawing people into our town, that will be a great help.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell, what could the city do to help local entrepreneurs succeed?
Cut the electric rates when they start a business. Basically, Toby covered, everybody down here has covered it all. Same answer. They're all right. They've nailed it all. So pretty much that.
I think that a lot of people don't realize that the majority of our businesses here in town are actually owned by people who don't live in Mountain View. By state statute, they do not have a say in what goes on in our town. So I would like to have an advisory committee of these business owners that could help us figure out what it is they need. I also think that we need to offer incentives to businesses and try to help them out, because startup costs are pretty expensive, and to get them through the first year and be successful is paramount to their success. If they can make it through 5 years, we've done a good job supporting them, and they've had a solid business plan. So I think we need to work with them and listen to what businesses actually need to be successful.
Thank you. Mr. Krasnowski, what could the city do, or what could the city do to help local entrepreneurs succeed?
Well, to start with, West Plains has a fantastic incubator program. Millions of dollars went in it. Go check it out. We don't even have to start one. It's open to all of us, all of our residents. Fantastic. You get going and then bring it here and move up. Right there's a real big start. Secondly, well, even more importantly, is our Chamber of Commerce. It's not up to the city, it's not up to the board members, or definitely not the mayor, who has very little power in the city. It is up to the Chamber of Commerce. The board and the mayor should make sure that extra money goes to that chamber every year so that they have what they need, the tools to bring business. That's their job. Let them go for it. This way they can make it a better business environment.
Okay, our next question will be, how can voters hold you accountable if you do not follow through with your promises? Let me start the time.
I've already said it. You missed it.
Do you need me to reread the question?
No.
Okay. 1 minute.
We can all come in here promising, and you are not just one person on the council. You've got 4 on there. You got a mayor. So you can come in here with big ideas. A lot of people don't realize you can say, well, we're going to get grants for this and grants for that. But a grant, you don't get it one day and start the project the next day. It takes from a year to 18 months to get it started, to the picking the engineer to do the project. So when you promise stuff, you better really understand that you're not going to get it overnight. You might not get it in the 2 years you're in there. All you can show them is that you're working for them and you're trying to improve everything that you said you would. Big promises hard to come by when you're in office, and the main thing is to work as a team with the mayor and the councilman, and you can accomplish a lot.
Mr. Cooper, how can voters hold you accountable if you do not follow through on your promises? 1 minute.
You said it again.
You want to move over here?
No, I don't. I do think she was right. I think it takes a little understanding on all sides, realizing that things don't happen in one day. Progress takes time, and everybody working as a team is probably the best way to push that along.
Thank you. Mr. Orchard?
How people can hold me accountable, I've given my phone number out to all the doors that I've knocked on. My card's back there on the table. I want people to call me, reach out. That's the only way that we're going to have communication. I know that you can't promise things and you're going to for sure get them done, but you can try, and as long as the people see things moving forward, you're not going to hear a lot. It's whenever things are stagnant that's whenever you hear.
Thank you. Mr. Thornton? How can voters hold you accountable if you don't follow through on your promises? 1 minute.
Well, come to the city council meetings. You'll see us there. You'll see me there. You'll see me on the streets. Call me, text me. I'm around. I'm on Facebook. I'm easy to find. Call City Hall. Talk to me. I'm there.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell?
Yes,
How
sir.
can voters hold you accountable if you do not follow through on your promises?
Well, don't make promises you can't keep. That's the first thing. If you got a problem, everybody knows where my alley's at. Come talk to me. And that's how we'll handle it.
Thank you. Ms. Kennedy, how can voters hold you accountable if you do not follow through on your promises?
The first way they can do that is to actually talk to you. I think we need more involvement with the residents of the city when we have meetings. I attend council meetings, I attend work sessions. That's how you find out things that they're working on. You need to be more vocal, and if push comes to shove, you can be recalled and they can vote you out or not support you in the next election. So that's how voters can express their displeasure with the job that we're doing. I think that we also need to listen to what they have to say, but I think citizens can hold us responsible by telling us how we're doing or if we're not doing what they think we should.
Thank you. Mr. Krasuski, how can voters hold you accountable if you do not follow through on your promises? 1 minute.
Well, what she said, no problem. But speaking from experience, 2 years plus a year of alderman, when I was a mayor, come into the office. That's it. Come on in. And if not there, make an appointment. I've had 2 gentlemen come in 2 years, 2, that's all. They were hotter than anything, hotter than a wet hornet on a hot July's day, I'll tell you. They came in and they left shaking hands and agreeing that they were misled. People that misled and false information that messes people up, come in, talk to them. Talk to all of us, any of us. Come in and get answers. Those 2 are the smartest people there that were complaining. So that's the way to go.
All right, next question will be, what resources does Mountain View have that you feel are underutilized? What would you do differently?
That's not utilized.
That's not utilized. That is underutilized.
That's hard. We've got, I don't know, we're sitting in a good place. I mean, we're halfway between Springfield and Poplar Bluff. We've got rivers all around us. I don't think we utilize our visitors enough into Mountain View. I don't know, that's a very hard question, but we just need to have attractions. We've got land that we could have fairs on and stuff like that to bring people in. And we just need to use what we've got to our fullest. You better do better than me.
Mr. Cooper, what resources in Mountain View do you feel are underutilized? What would you do different?
I think the first thing would be our actual location, centered between the larger towns. We also are in a unique position where the smaller towns around us act as a larger community. You can go anywhere and get what you need within the surrounding few towns, with us being the center hub of that. As far as our landscape around here, I do think that we could utilize the rivers and just the beautiful scenery around here a lot better as well, as far as attractions or more reasons to visit.
Thank you. Mr. Orchard, what resources does Mountain View have that you feel are underutilized, and what would you do differently?
The land that we have out why not develop it into something, or do like West Plains and look for grants, or have big solar corporations come in and have a solar farm there. The senior center, I feel like we could use it better. Say host a golf tournament and use the proceeds from that to get them a delivery vehicle. How many more people would use that if they had the option for delivery? That's about it.
Mr. Thornton?
You ready?
Yes, did you need me to read? You good? All right, 1 minute.
Got it up here. It's like a steel trap. I think the biggest resource we have in this town is our great citizens. And I think the way that the best use we have is get the businesses attracted in here and get a couple smaller factories. We don't want the large factories, but get something in here to get it to where our citizens can come in here, raise their families, and instead of having to go to the large towns or the riverboats or someplace to work, have it to where they can make a living wage in our town and stay right here and have our money and our tax dollars spent here and attract the money from the other towns instead of spending it other places when they go to work. Have the money from the other towns attracted to our town and attracted to our small businesses that we have in our town, and grow our town from that. That's the biggest resource that I believe we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell,
Yes, sir.
what resources does Mountain View have that you feel are underutilized, and what would you do differently?
The golf course. We can do more with the golf course than we're doing. We can have the cross-country high school team run out there. We could have food trucks out there. Of course, more golf tournaments, possibly have concerts or something. Use it because it's a really good course. So I believe it's underutilized because it could be used for a lot more. And that's it.
Ms. Gaddy, what resources does Mountain View have that you feel are underutilized, and what would you do differently?
I think one of the things that we've failed to do is to promote ourselves. We have a lot of things going on in Mountain View. I originally lived in a little town the size of Mountain View. We did not have an airport. We did not have a hospital. We did not have a youth center. We did not have a golf course. We have so many things here for people, but we don't utilize them properly. So the youth center has started doing a lot of activities for the different ages of kids. They've got adult softball now. We have a lot of activities that bring people into town. When they come into town, they spend money. The chamber, we've got a new director who is moving things forward, advertising what we've got, promoting it, and I think we need to keep building on that and see if we can't do better.
Mr. Krasuski, what resources do you think are underutilized within our town, and what would you do differently? 1 minute.
Some are underutilized, some just can only go so far, and the airport is one of them, but that's a good thing. It doesn't cost us. We keep getting grants, and the funding doesn't hurt. It comes from the federal, so we're good there. And then the golf course, of course, fantastic. That's a big one that's underutilized, and there's a lot of ways to do it. Chamber, fantastic, and that's what we need to keep on going. We've got a big asset going with media, social media. Use it in a positive way. If we could use it in a positive way and quit slandering with false information and a bunch of BS out there making our town look bad. It'd be different if there was facts, no problem, but we got to stop that. If we could ask those people to stop that, we can make our town better.
Okay, road conditions are a huge problem within our town. Every election cycle, the voters hear that this will be a priority. Will you pledge to prioritize our roads, and how will you do that? If you need me to reread the question, I'll do it.
I don't like being first. This subject comes up, I think, at every election, every year when we have election, regardless who's running. Our roads is horrible. They haven't been taken care of for the last 3 or 4 years like they should have been. We don't have the equipment to work on them. We had a chance to get a $1 million grant for our roads, and like I said, our grade was down, up, so we didn't, but we went back and got that fixed. So we have applied for that again. We, like Karen said a while ago, we've got to get qualified people to run the machines, train them on them, but we have this, the council that we've got now has discussed it, and to get road equipment so we can do our own, because, everybody says, we do a mile a year, that people don't realize we got 28 miles of roads in Mountain View, so some of you is going to get your road fixed in 28 years. So, but we just have to work as a team to get them fixed.
Mr. Cooper, road conditions are a huge problem within our town. Every election cycle, the voters hear that this will be a priority. We pledge to prioritize our roads, and how would you do so? 1 minute.
Yeah, I do think that road conditions are important. Like you said, it comes up all the time, even outside of election cycles. It's one of the main things that I hear about. I think to do it successfully, it will have to start at the very bottom, getting the equipment, training the people, and acquiring funding to do all that. It seems like we do have some qualified people to kickstart that, and I think that's a good thing. I think we're moving in the right direction. But we do have to work as a team to make that happen.
Thank you. right, Mr. Orchard, road conditions are a huge problem in our town. Every election cycle, the voters hear that this will be a priority. Will you pledge to prioritize our roads, and how will you do so? 1 minute.
Yes, I will. And as most of you have heard in the past, we can't fix them because our sewer, we got to get new sewer, we got to get new water lines. There's places in this town that sewer and water have been replaced. We can start somewhere, and that's all the residents want to see. We can't just be stagnant. That's whenever you're going to hear something, as I said earlier. I will make this my priority. I know that I can't promise it, but I will make it my priority.
Mr. Thornton, road conditions are a huge problem within our town. Every election cycle, the voters hear that this will be a priority. Will you pledge to prioritize our roads, and how will you do so?
Okay, first off, we have to, it's going to, because of the vast expense it is, it's going to have to be done through grants, which are already actually in progress. And to keep this in progress, we're going to have to continue working on the audits that were neglected by the past administration. We're going to have to keep those going and then keep looking for more grants to keep this done. As the sewer project is done now, when that is completed, that's going to take care of part of them, because as they dug it up, the streets that are done, they will repave those. But as Toby said, you have to start somewhere. Not all of them are bad. So, through grant money is actually how it's going to have to be done. We'll just continue to look for those.
Well, we all know first comes sewer. Clay pipe's got to be taken out, then the roads can be fixed. And as Toby said, there are roads that can already be fixed. Got to have grants to do it. We don't have enough money to do them right now, do we? No. So pretty much, if you don't have the money, you're not going to get much road fixed. So that's basically what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Road conditions are a huge problem in our town. Every election cycle, the voters hear that this will be a priority. Will you pledge to prioritize our roads, and how will you do so?
Yes, I will pledge to work on the roads, and I think that this administration has made a lot of progress in preparing for that, getting the sewer and water fixed so that we're not going to fix a road and then dig it up 2 weeks later. So, and as was mentioned, right now we really do not have the funds available to fix the road, so we need to find money to do that. And as Toby said, we do have some areas that we are ready to go as far as the sewer and everything under it has been fixed. So we need to prioritize those roads and get started so that people see that we mean what we say and we do what we say.
Mr. Krasuski, road conditions are a huge problem in our town. Every election cycle, the voters hear that this will be a priority. Will you pledge to prioritize our roads, and how will you do so? 1 minute.
Yes, just as everyone else, we'd all pledge to do so. It's very important, as we all mentioned before in your previous question. And we had a comprehensive plan all ready to go. It was all ready, but and I know why it didn't go, but I can't say here now. That's for a court at a later date. But we had $500,000 every 6 months ready to go. We had a Mountain View Resource and Development paying the copay, $25,000 for each time. Everything was ready. It didn't go through. Someone sabotaged it after my administration left. And it definitely was not the mayor. Don't go there. She had no idea. But it did get ruined, and we can regain those grants in a heartbeat. The man that applied for those grants and successfully got them was our our operations manager. And for a reward of getting those grants, along with hundreds of thousands of dollars of other grants, he was demoted and also taken away $8,000 of his pay a year. That was his thank you. And corrections have to be made. We have to have a good workforce. And if we've got people out there that know what they're doing and have got experience, put them to it, and they'll get those grants back, and we'll get these roads done. It's not a problem.
All right, as we're coming to the tail end, I've got a few more questions for you guys. You know, we've all seen what's bad in Mountain View. We talk about it a lot. I want to hear some positives. So, starting with you, Judy, what is your vision for this town? Your vision for this town, big picture.
Big picture is to bring a grocery store in. Or you got it?
Yeah, you get it.
Okay. We need another grocery store in this town. We need another restaurant in this town. We need our roads fixed, like we all say. And that takes money, but if we can talk and get more jobs, we got to have jobs to keep our kids here. And we need more activities for our children to do, to keep them doing something. You know, you all gripe, well, the kids is out doing what they shouldn't be. We need something for our children to do. We got to think of them. And we can do it if we all, like I said, in the last year we've made mass improvements. We started out with nothing, but the last year we have got ahead in our budget and our finance. So we're headed in the right direction. It just takes time. I'm sorry, it takes time.
Thank you. Mr. Cooper, what is your vision, big picture for this town?
So, big picture, I think, is to make it a place people want to live. Get rid of the sleepy retirement town narrative and bring it back to what it used to be, a place that people wanted to raise their family, kids wanted to stay and not move away after school, and places where people can make a living wage and have a good life here. I think that we do have a lot of hardworking people here, good people, that can help make this happen and bring it back to its former glory, per se.
First thing we got to do is we got to get rid of this divide that we have. We got to come together. And we're never going to have any growth whatsoever if we don't. I feel like we got to invest in our kids. You know, if we want them to come back here and raise their families, we have to invest in them. If they don't like living here right now, they're not going to bring their kids back here. You know, if they don't have opportunities to work here when they're raising their kids, they're not going to move back here. We have to start investing in our kids.
Thank you. Mr. Gordon, big picture, what is your vision for our town?
My vision for this town is to be the town that I thought I moved to, the one that I remember coming down here and visiting and spending time in when I was a kid, the one that I brought my kids to, the one that had things for kids to do, that had business in it, that had just things going on all the time. Business, you know, like I say, business, places for Toby to raise his kids. My kids are grown. That's why I say for a place for Toby to raise his kids, places for your kids to grow up, you know, for my grandkids to come. You know, just like I say, the town that I remember.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell, big picture, what is your vision for this town?
I have the old vision. 1976, we had a Ford dealership, a Chevy dealership, the boat factory, fab. We had jobs. People were happy to live here. I don't know that we can ever get all that back, but we can dang sure try. And the kids, when they graduate, they got to have a job to do. And they're all leaving here. You're either going to work at a sawmill, a flooring mill, a charcoal kiln, a nurse, otherwise or a teacher, otherwise you're not going to have a job here. But that's my vision, is to try to get it back to the way it used to be. So there we go.
Repeat that, please.
Big picture, what is your vision for the town?
I think the big picture, we need to pull together and work together. One person alone is not going to accomplish everything we need. I think council and the mayor need to work together. We have lots of organizations in this town, and one of the things I've noticed is that each one's doing their own thing. We've started to do some collaboration between the organizations and to gather people together and work as a team instead of independently.
Mr.
My vision is all roses and daisies, just like we all want, and all we need is a miracle to have it happen. But it's going to take group effort, and we start with the voters, start with putting on a good board. The board is the one that makes the big decisions in town, not the mayor. Mayor helps. Mayor doesn't even get a vote. I think in 2 years, I might have voted once in 2 years. It's up to the board, and you guys got to make sure you know who the board is, know who you're voting for, and get them in. They're number one. They're the ones that are going to do it. Hopefully get small businesses and keep the chamber going, the youth center, et cetera. And collaboration with the schools is something I was starting to work on, and that's really helpful.
All right, this will be the last question for the town hall. We're going to end it on a positive note. What do you think this town does well?
The people stand together, and that's what's good about Mountain View. If there is a problem, people come together and they help each other, and that is really, really, really important. Another thing, I'm proud of this town, just like the reefs at the VFW or the Veterans Cemetery, Reefs Across America. The mayor joined in that. I think we've done it 2 or 3 years now. Everybody in this town needs to go to that. It's just a soft spot in your heart when you show up at that. And now we've got our police department won the, what was it called, Blue Shield Safety Award. So everything is improving, and that is a good feeling about our town, that everybody wants to move forward.
Thank you. Mr. Cooper, what do you think this town does well?
I do think that what she had said about the people working together and coming together to move forward is true. I think that we do a very good job of helping each other, keeping each other safe. This is a place where you could go to bed and not lock your door and probably be okay. I think that we do a good job of attracting people here, but not keeping them.
Thank you. Mr. Richard, what do you think this town does well?
Just in recently, you see the chamber, how much work she's putting into it and the response that she's getting from it. I haven't seen anybody get a response like that since I've lived here. Other organizations, like our youth sports, I'm very proud of the youth sports and what is going on down there. We have people in there that care now, and it's really starting to take the wheels are really starting to turn now, and they're starting to get things accomplished. That's all I have.
What do you think this town does well?
I would kind of have to go along with the consensus here. It's a sense of community around here. I mean, it's like when a tragedy happens, I guess is when I see it. That anything that happens, the house burns down or tragic events, it's like everybody comes together. I mean, they may have been bickering and fighting and throwing rocks at each other 10 minutes before, but you let something bad happen, and they put their differences aside, and they seem to come together to help that guy that was, they were fighting with just before that. They help them out. Now, they may go to fighting again later, but they come together when the chips are down.
Thank you. Mr. Mitchell,
Yes.
what do you think this town does well?
The people. We have great people, as they've all said. I coached for years, football and baseball. Our youth sports are doing great. Added to soccer, we have good things happening in this town. We really do. It's not all gloom and doom. The people of the town are what make it great.
Thank you.
Like they said, I think that we do have a sense of community and we do pull together when push comes to shove. Unfortunately, there is too much squabbling in between those times, and we need to work on that. This is a very caring community, and people do care about each other. I think we've gotten sidetracked over the last few years, and I think we're headed in the right direction, but we need to work at it a little better.
Mr. Krasuski, what do you think this town does well?
A lot of things. It does a lot of things very well. We've got good security, good police department. They've got good funding. They're doing well. Raising children here is great. I don't care what anybody says. I've done it, and my kids are raising kids here now. Fantastic. Schools are doing darn good. We've got good schools going on. We got a college campus right downtown. We've got a lot of things going well. We got a lot of new businesses downtown, small budding businesses like this that's cleaning up and straightening out and just coming up in the world. It's really good, cleaning up our whole downtown. So it's progressing well. You know, if we can keep it in a positive note, keep it going.
Okay, I do have a few questions that were sent to me online for people who could not attend tonight. First one, Judy. You recently talked with this person about taxes, or about electric rates, and you have said that they are starting to go down, and they're wanting you to elaborate on that.
Is it on? It was brought to the council's attention that our electric rates from our co-op was going up. So we was gonna have to raise the electric rates. And we had probably 4, 5 work sessions on it, because we was given some figures, and there was a few of us on the council that said, no, we cannot do that to our citizens. And the way the rates was, we had like a 6 or 7 tiered rate, and your first 10 kilowatts cost you $14.80. So when you took the meter out of that, you was paying 48 cents a kilowatt for the first 10. And it just did that until you got up to 2,000. And then you was paying lower than the person that was very conservative with their electric. So we worked on it and did it, and we cut it into 2 tiers. We did the same with the small business, and because the corporate rates was the same way. It was so tiered that nobody could even figure out their, so we worked on it and we got them down.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Cooper, why did you decide to get involved with city politics?
Is there a timer? Yeah. The reason that I got involved, I think I've already mentioned it in a couple questions, but it's just to see the town that I love, the place where I have a sense of communal pride, go back to how it used to be. I don't want to go anywhere else. I want to stay here, and I would like to at least be involved in making that change.
Thank you. You can actually hand that to Mr. Orchard, please. Mr. Orchard, you have recently stated that we need more for the youth in our town. What does that look like to you?
Adding activities at the parks, like you could put concrete cornhole boards, say a splash pad at the Wayside Park beside the pool. Clean up Jam Up Creek. It don't have to be an eyesore. Put a bike trail along it. And we have a parking lot right here that you could start. And you could put a parking lot at the other end of the golf course on that dirt road. Along the bike trail, you could put a disc golf course. There's a lot of opportunities there, but you got to start with cleaning it up.
Mr. Thornton? Why are you the most qualified for this position?
Say that again?
Why do you feel you are the most qualified for this position?
Oh, okay. Well, I've had experience in management and, running a business. So, I mean, running a business in a town would seem to kind of correlate, and the whole thing would just be, seem to be experiencing the same type thing. I'm retired, so, I mean, I've got all the time in the world to do this kind of stuff. That's really about all I can think of.
Mr. Mitchell?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Why did you decide to get involved?
Probably because I'm insane. We've got lots and lots of problems that need fixed, and I will work hard to get things done. I really will. I'm pretty easygoing. I can work with people. Toby's got great ideas. I like your Jam Up Creek idea. I really do. That's a good idea. You're doing great on that. But apparently I'm insane is why I'm running for mayor.
Ms. Gabby, what valuable skills do you bring to the table that makes you stand out from the other candidates?
I have a history of being a business owner. I've also worked in corporate areas. I've managed ambulance districts. I worked as the director of EMS for Ozarks Medical Center, and I was over 5 different ambulance districts and the non-emergency transport service. I understand budgeting, and I've had a licensed daycare. I've had trucking companies. All of them deal with government regulations, and so I'm familiar with the process of meeting those rules and regulations. And I am also retired, and I've been active in the city on different boards and planning and zoning, and I see a need, and I decided to step up, even though.
Come on, finish up.
Mr. Krzyzewski, you stated that at the last town hall, you stated that your first term as mayor, you inherited a mess. Can you please elaborate?
Woo, you got enough time? Reset that clock. Yeah, it was a major mess. They had hired somebody and a board member. They interfered with the entire books to where the books had to be completely redone. We hired an outside firm that does state audits for the cities. We the board, because I'm just the mayor, we spent over $100,000 to get our books straight at the beginning of that first term. But we had a great board that year. That year we had a fantastic board. We worked together, got it all done, got straightened out. And then we proceeded to lose our clerks one after the other. We went through 3 clerks because of badgering from some of the board members on the second year, not the first year. They were good. The second year, I don't know what happened. They had problems at home or whatever, but that's where you just got to learn to work together, and they didn't. And we had a mess with the clerks and couldn't get the books done by the end of the year when we got out. But we had a very balanced budget, very, by the end of it, 2 years, fantastic. I even have it with me if everybody wants to see it.
Actually, if you don't mind keeping that, I have a question
Yep.
for you. When we were talking just a minute ago, you said that you had grants ready to go. Will you please elaborate?
Yes, we had $4.3 million ready to go. We were already not just qualified for, we were already accepted. But I was the only one privy to know this. I was asked at a council meeting and badgered at a council meeting that, oh, you didn't get this grant for the sewer, et cetera, et cetera. I couldn't tell them we got it. I was under oath. I'm doing my job. We could not tell the public yet until they announce it. And they weren't announcing it until June or July, I think it was 1st of July, which is not even my term. I was out of there. Everybody jumped the gun and voted me out, and hey, there we go. So it was gone. They had stipulations for the next term to do. You had to have an audit. We had that lined up with KPM again. That was the third audit we had. Our board had hired $10,000, and that's minor fee for $4.3 million. But they didn't do it. She didn't have time. She was and I don't blame her, but the mayor and board was chasing $1 million that was missing supposedly. You know, we never had any $1 million missing. But anyway, so she was busy doing that. She was doing due diligence, and she was trying. She was busy.
Was that grant contingent on you staying in as mayor? Like, what happened to it? Do you know, like, did it just...
It's not contingent on any one mayor. I did sign for it, yeah. I had to sign an affidavit, et cetera, yeah. Yeah. But it's not contingent.
All right, guys, can we give these guys a round of applause, please? They did great. So now, you guys are the ones that matter. We're going to open it up to you guys to ask the questions that matter to you. Please be respectful, no personal. You know, make this about policy and make this about professionalism, please. Anyone would like to go first? Please state your name.
Clifford Burdick.
All right, go ahead, sir.
When asked what we can do for the city, the answer always seems to be jobs, jobs, jobs. But if we had factories come in, what is your plan to do something about our antiquated infrastructure? Our electric and sewer and water couldn't handle a business of 300 people or 7 businesses of 50 people. What's your plan to correct that?
Is this directed at a single or?
No, whoever wants to take it.
Okay. Any takers? Mr. Mitchell?
You're absolutely correct. Infrastructure has to be fixed first, because businesses are not going to come when we don't have our electric right, our roads right, our sewer right. You're correct. So the first thing that has to be done is get all the infrastructure done, then get jobs, because people are not going to come put a factory in if they have poor infrastructure. You're absolutely correct.
Who's next? 1 second. Please state your name.
My name's Terry Gunner, and I've lived here lots of years, but I'm going to ask Mr. John. My concern is, a while ago you stated about media and stuff needing to tell the truth and everything, be non-biased. I think Devin's doing a heck of a job. I think we do have a biased newspaper doing the report, because they bash everybody but certain people. And I mean, just like Mr. Thornton, I saw people tearing his signs down, and they made him act like a criminal. But explain that in detail a little more about why you feel it's okay for the newspaper to be here, but not someone else.
I appreciate your concern a lot, Mr. Gunther. I don't want this to get into a he said, she said. I don't want to get into picking and nitpicking and slandering each other and et cetera. The newspaper has investigative reporters, and you were saying something about others. I won't even mention names, but I've got so much proof that the others were misinformed. I'm not saying they're lying, they just misinformed. Someone has given them misinformation, probably from City Hall. I know they did while I was in there. And they took that and twisted it around and made it look bad, and it just hurts the city, and we don't need to get into that, really. It just clean house and go. Pardon?
Answer my question.
Well, okay, what would you say the question is that I'm missing?
Explain what you mean by censor some but not the other.
Oh, you don't censor any of them.
That's what
Oh my gosh, if anyone misinterpreted that, you got to use common sense when you interpret things, especially when a podcaster singles it out and doesn't include the question. See, that's how CNN does that. You got to be careful how you watch that. When they are after someone, they can make you look bad no matter what. They can make Princess Di look bad. Oh yeah, don't fall for that. No, I personally would never believe in any censorship. Now you heard it right from the horse's mouth. Nobody clipping. But the question, it was answering a question, but let's not get back and forth. I was answering a question, sir.
Thank you, guys. Who's next? Yes, ma'am. If you don't mind, please state your name.
Jennifer Abbott.
All right, ask your question.
Mr. Kruzewski, I don't quite understand how we lost the already said grants that were in place. Could you explain that a little bit more? Was it lack of communication to the new? Or, I mean, I don't understand, and I'm sorry.
A very good question. You don't have to be sorry. That's excellent. Fantastic. And it wasn't anybody doing anything on purpose to make the town be bad, et cetera. What it is it was okayed. We had everything approved, but the next mayor that had to follow through, we had an audit ready for the final, for my final year, my final quarter, et cetera. And it was $10,000. KPM was doing the audit, was already hired by our board to do it. Everything is ready to roll. That's one of the prerequisites before they hand you that grant. They have to have that audit. Well, the mayor, on all her behalf, she was convinced by others, outside forces, like the slandering that goes on, that $1 million was being stolen during my regime. and she said she owes it to the public. She's going to find it. And she looked and looked and worked at it. In the meantime, that ran out. And she was warned 3 times. I called in 3 times personally. And on the third one, I overheard her. I was on with another phone, a speakerphone. And she said, I don't have time for that right now. And she didn't. She was on a quest, and she was convinced, and that's fine. I agree. If you're convinced of something, go after it.
Thank you.
So that's what happened. We got rejected at the end.
Who's next? Please state your name.
Hi, my name is Brenda Coulter, and I will start out and say that I was alderman, and I was taken off because I did make a mistake and I voted for a family member. I never hid that issue, but anyway, I just wanted you to know that from the very beginning. It's not anything that I've ever hid. I talked to people about it. But anyway, so I just want you to know, I have a question for John. If you are reelected, do you plan on doing things the same way you did your first term and your second term? Let me give you some examples, okay? First of all, are you planning on keeping folders on your aldermen and keeping them for when you need them on their family members and stuff, like you did when I was there? Also, are you...
One at a time, please. Just one question at a time.
Oh.
You can answer.
Well, it kind of goes together. All right, and then while I was in there, you also held me and other aldermen against our will. And while we were in there being held against our will, nobody else was back there. Bud was back there. And you said to us, we should step down. And if we step down, you'll start signing grants again. But if we stayed in office, you would not sign another grant.
Thank you.
Okay, answer.
I just did. You're right. She's right. That is, a lot of that is true. First of all, I'll clear her name that, yes, she was asked to step down by state statute. Had nothing to do with me, but we had to have our lawyer read it, and she had to step down. And that was a misunderstanding of family, voting for family, et cetera. And she asked me if she can serve on the board, and I told her absolutely, and it's still till today, that's true. You can serve with a family member. But unbeknownst to me or her or anyone else, she can't be in the room or even sitting at the desk. She has to be out of the room when that vote is taken. We had no knowledge of this, but we were made aware of it when the Attorney General called me and let me know. So, yeah, no problem there. Yes, now I'll try to remember everything you just asked and try to get it in chronological order. Oh, getting you into the back room. See, when we all sign up for what you people will be doing, we take an oath. We take an oath to do what's best for the city and, well, can I answer? To do what's best for the city and within the decorum of the board and within our Constitution of the United States, as well as our city charter. Okay, you take an oath. And according to the decorum, you approve the agenda first thing. And once you approve that agenda, you do what the agenda is. That's it. If you don't approve the agenda, if you don't like it, you don't approve it. You make a motion to change it before you go into it. We had an agenda. Everybody approved it. Okay, that's under oath. Now when we went into agenda, the first thing on the list, first thing was to go into closed session. They decided, we don't want to go into closed session. Well, you took an oath to do the job and the decorum, and you just approved the agenda, and that's number one, you approved. And then according to our charter, our ordinances, the mayor has all kinds of rights to ask the police, well, really, it would be the sergeant at arms in the room at the time, to compel them to follow decorum. That's in there. Okay? So they compelled you. Nobody threatened anybody with anything. Nobody threatened arrest. They compelled you.
You answered the last question.
Sorry. What was the last one?
Did you tell them you will not sign any grants if
Yes.
they stayed on board?
Okay. That board, let me answer it. Okay, that board had arbitrarily, right out of nowhere, decided, freeze the budget. That's the worst thing you can do to a city anywhere in our country. Decided to freeze the budget. No, this is what had to do with it. When that board freezed the budget, I can name names at Skokog, but I don't want to because I was on their board and I don't want to name names at this time. But they called me and said, hey, you've got board members that froze the budget. You're not good for any grants. You're done. Because you, as mayor, I have to sign for the board and the city that I'm agreeing the board is going to follow with all the guidelines of that grant. Okay, I have to sign an affidavit to that effect. He told me, he was the head of there, he told me, John, how can you sign that affidavit conscientiously when your board just decided to shut down the whole town? You can't follow through with a grant.
Why didn't we talk about that?
So that's what I told you because it was financial. Our attorney said anything financial we had to take into closed session. And by the way, that was the first and only closed session that I requested in a whole year, 1 year. And I got accused of having all closed sessions. I had one. It was all the boards. We got to follow with the board, people.
Appreciate it.
It's the board.
Right, anyone else got a question?
Yeah.
Over there?
My name's Bill Eccles. I have a question for you.
I'm not being elected.
I have a question about, I'll ask somebody at the meeting.
I'll talk to you after the.
Does anybody at the meeting know what the situation is with the press in this meeting? The press.
Independent meeting?
This meeting, is there press not allowed to attend this meeting?
No, I've invited everyone.
Okay.
Thank you. We got a member of the press here, and anyone else? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought.
I just decided to ask.
Please state your name, please.
My name's Terry Moore. I've been here a while, and I hear discussions up and down about this. I'd like to know how each of you feels about having a city manager. Seems like we've had the arguments about, oh, they're good, they're bad, they wasted our money, they cost too much. They were great, whatever, but I just want to know in general what each of you feels about that, because it seems to come up all the time.
Is that for
everybody?
all of them? Okay.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
All right, guys, the question is, how do you feel about a city manager? You want to start down there? Yeah, okay, yeah.
As far as the city administrator, if you have the money to pay for them, which right now we are in that shape, but they are good because most of the mayors people that run can't be in City Hall, 7 days a week. And so a city administrator is kind of the assistant to the mayor, but they also write the grants and talk to SCOCOGs about getting grants. They do keep an eye on the budget. If the workers come in and want to get something, they have to go on the agenda. It has to be approved, but they can tell them it's not in your budget, or right now we can't afford to buy that. So they keep the financials straight, they keep the budget straight, and they're a good assistant with writing grants with SCOCOG and doing all the major meetings with them.
I really have no comment on the city manager topic.
I feel like the money that it takes to retain that position, we pay somebody $80,000 to be a city administrator. I feel like it could be split up into 2 different jobs and 2 different salaries, and you would get more done out of that. It's hard. I've worked down there at that shed, and it's hard for me to take orders from somebody that has never done it a day in their life. And you're going to get the same response out of them people down there. I feel like it could be split up into 2 different jobs, and we would get more things accomplished than just out of a city administrator.
Oh, you set the timer?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's.
That went on a long time, so we're going to stick to a minute on rebuttals.
Okay, that's why I wanted to give you a chance. Okay, a city administrator is actually important because the city's set up. It's designed to run with it. They're the one that basically oversees the supervision of all the actual crews. They're above the supervisors, and they answer to the mayor. They watch over the budget. They're the ones that apply for grants and all of that kind of stuff. The word administrator kind of sums it up. They're the administrator of the city. They do the reviews on the supervisors. I can't go into he's not going to give me time. The scope of it is so broad, and without it, things just kind of run amok. That's the best word I can put it into, because you have nobody out there overseeing the day-to-day stuff. Did I stay in it?
Yes, you did. Are you for or against the city manager or city administrator, and what's your thoughts?
If you could afford it, it's probably a pretty good idea. If you can't afford it, then move on and figure out how to deal without it. That's pretty much my answer.
All right. City administrator, how do you feel about it?
If we have a qualified person for that position and we can afford it, it's very beneficial to have a city administrator, because somebody has to drive the train, and that's what your city administrator does. They are not given carte blanche to do anything they want. They still answer to the board. So I think if it's structured properly and funded properly, we benefit from a city administrator.
I gotcha. Yeah, our city is set up from the charter from day one with an administrator in there. He's right in here. He answers to the board. That is how it's set up, and that is the premium, best way to go. I agree. He has to be qualified, and you're going to have to pay through the nose to get a qualified one. We just had one recently who, because of board problems, said, forget it, I'm out of here. He quit. I hope we can get him back still. I don't know. but I hope one of us can talk to him and get him back. We need an administrator if we can afford him. And I don't know the books. I'm not going to sit here and assume, oh, we can afford him. I don't even know that. How can I? I'm not in there getting information on the side. So yeah, we should have one theoretically. We played without one for 2 years, did great all 2 years. But I had some great clerks, and that's number one. Clerks is that's the hub of the wheel at City Hall. And we did it. With the field manager, operations manager, the clerk, and myself, we were able to get all the grants we qualified for and could handle during those 2 years, and keep the experienced personnel happy and working, not leaving town.
I think we have time for about 3 or 4 more questions. Anyone else? Please state your name.
My name's Ricky Reniger. I guess Devin had asked you earlier about small businesses, and I see a lot of money from the city that goes out of town to rent equipment, do others, everything. I know maybe the businesses may not be the cheapest, and the town doesn't have money, but if we want our citizens to support those businesses and we want to keep those businesses here, but our city is sending their money out, just doesn't make a lot of sense. So I guess the question is, if you was elected, would you try to keep the money here before sending it out? Whether going and talking to the businesses saying, hey, can you match this price? How would you handle that?
He'll put you to work. I know it's policy. I don't know that they do it, but they do bring bids in. There's some things that we have to get that's not around here, but like some of the smaller machinery stuff, they are supposed to get bids from our local people. It's a rule, state statute, in fact, that we have to have bids from 3 different people, or 2 at least, and so everybody gets a chance to bid on but we do try to keep it local as much as we can. I just wish we had more businesses to do it.
I think the obvious answer is yes. We would prefer to keep the money as local as possible. And given that we have the options and, qualifications to do so, I think we should make that a priority to do as well. I like the question.
Yes, very good question. I feel like we have to keep it here. Just at like one of my last meetings that I attended, we had sent one of our trash trucks. I can't even remember where they sent the hydraulics to get them fixed. Whenever we have places like in between here and Mountain View, where they have all like the dozers and I don't know the name of the place, but Yeah. They work on all that stuff. Why didn't we look into that place? That's a very good question, and I think it's very important that we keep our businesses going here, because it's hard to ask the people to do something if we're not going to do it.
Okay, I'm going to start out. I believe you asked, would I encourage them to start out local here if we can?
Not only just to encourage them, but let's say a small business is just a little bit higher.
Okay.
In my opinion, we should still spend it here versus, let's go say 50 cents over in Rapid West Plains.
Okay, that's what I thought I heard. I wanted to make sure I heard it right. The way I'm going to approach it is I'm going to say, do it like I approach my own money. I spend it here first. If I can get the product here, let's spend the money here and keep it in Mountain View. And then what you can't get local, then you just, it's like water flowing. You start here and then you go to the surrounding towns and go out from there. Devin knows when I buy tires, we start here. It's the local businesses know I start here and then we flow out from there. Obviously you can't get everything local. We all know that, but yeah, that's how you keep jobs in town.
Ricky, if it's all possible, yeah, spend your money right here at home. That's the best way to do it. A lot of things we don't have here, and we need to do better on some of that. So I agree with you on that. Spend your money at home.
I also agree that we need to spend our dollars local as much as we can. Unfortunately, sometimes things require a little bit more than what our local person can provide. And in those cases, you kind of have to go where you can get the best product or the best service for your money. But I do think we need to keep things local as much as possible.
I'm in total agreement as there. Always keep it local as much as possible. And with a little bit of experience, people would learn or know that even with grants, you don't have to take the lowest bid. You can keep it local and go with a higher bidder. You do not have to take the lowest bid. So keeping that in mind, we can keep it more and more local, but if the skill set isn't there or the equipment isn't there where financially they can afford to have it locally, we have to go outside. There's no other choice. But otherwise, if there's a choice in any way, even if you have to pay a little more, we bite the bullet, keep it local. That circle comes right back to us.
Mr. Gunner, you had a question?
Yes, Toby Orchard. Hey, Toby, if you get elected, a lot of this, I've been to a lot of meetings and I see where people, they hire their good old boys. Are you going to be the one that wants to hire the most qualified, or just because they're a friend of yours, you're going to want to give them a job?
The most qualified, and me solely, I don't hire somebody just by myself. It takes more than one person to hire somebody.
Like, would you recommend a buddy just because he's a buddy?
I mean, I can recommend him, but I'm not going to hire him just because he's my buddy. If he's the most qualified, then he's the most qualified.
One answer to that, the council don't hire individual, and we only have a say in the supervisors, and it has to be all the council voting on the supervisors, not the laborers.
Thank you. Anyone else have a question? Go, Mr. Cliff.
This is April 2026. In April 2025, our new electric water meters were supposed to have been installed. We already have the meters, and they're sitting there. And that was supposed to straighten out our bills to keep them current. Why haven't they been done? And if you guys are elected, are you going to get it done, or are we going to screw around for another year?
Good question. Is that for any one particular, all of them? All of them?
Whoever wants, I'll answer it. Who's afraid to answer it, you'll know.
And we can just pass it, hot potato, whoever.
I worked on the water and sewer department whenever we got them meters, and I personally put in over 200 meters by myself. It can be done. You got to want to get it done. Exactly. And we don't need to hire somebody to come in and do it, because they tried doing that whenever I was working there. They tried hiring somebody to come in and do it all at once. And while I was out by myself doing, and I've done, like I said, over 200 by myself, it can be done. We have a water department of 3 people.
Yeah,
3.
you've had more than a year.
Do what?
I said you have had more than a year.
Correct.
And they should be in it.
And it should be done already. And I will look into that if I'm in there. Because like I said, I've done the work myself. I know it can be done.
Let me answer that, Toby. Thank you. The council has been irate about this since last April, May, and we hear one excuse after the other, and you're not the only one that's aggravated about it. We are too. And like Toby said, it can be done by one person, right, Toby? And we cannot get a straight answer. And so it's not just the public aggravated, it's the council too. Okay?
Anyone else would like to comment on that?
As Judy said, and Toby, that should have already been done. I also have one of the new meters, but even though it was put in, it still can't talk to the computer system. And because it's not been completed correctly. It all comes down to accountability. Somebody needs to hold the people that are supposed to be putting those in accountable, and that's not happening. So
The water meters aren't the only thing that needs to be replaced in the water department.
exactly, and that is something that needs to be looked into. And I have managed large groups of people before, and if you give them something and it's supposed to be done by a certain date, there are evaluations that come due, and if they have not met the requirements, then there needs to be some disciplinary action done, and I don't see that happening. That's something that does need to happen.
Yeah, I'd like to interject on that. In a way, she's right, but there's also other factors I happen to know. That question really should have been for Judy only, because she's the only one that knows what's going on. We're all on the outside right now. You know, we don't have. But the answer I do have is that while I was in there, I know that those units did have communication problems with the towers. We kept changing towers when we were in there, and they're just not talking. And the company is what needs to be held responsible, the company that we bought them from. And it's a big deal, and it was $250,000 investment, and we really were deciding, the board-wise, and the new board will have to decide, throw away that $250,000 investment we have and start over, or keep on going. So it's really a problem with the company that's supplying them.
Manager at the time stood before council and said those bugs were worked out, that he figured out a way to get those meters to communicate because he'd already installed a tower. So now what's the problem?
If that's the case in the last 2 years, 6 of us wouldn't know that. You know, so Judy would know that.
Ooh, robust conversations. We like it.
We just really get into this.
Yeah, I give you a minute 20 since I know it's
Okay. We was told as council that, and this is what we're dealing with, and that's why we need team here. Team. We've got to have teamwork. We was told that the communications, they talked to virtual, I think it is, or visual, and so they got all the bugs ironed out of it, okay? They went out, listen to this, Toby, you'll like this. They went out and put a bunch more meters in, and then the interim city administrator asked if they plugged them in. They said, no, we was gonna do that later. If you're there and you're putting these meters in, and it just takes a plug-in to communicate it back to our utility clerk so she can read them, and we don't have to have a guy. This is the problem that we're dealing with, and like Karen said, the council has really been digging into this. We're aggravated about it, and we just can't get no backing on it. And it should be done. Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect timing. Hang on, let me start your timer real fast.
Oh, I won't need a timer. I won't need a timer. I'm not going to take that long. It's actually actively being worked on right now. That some of the water meters, possibly some that you put in, Toby, are hooked up, and they're trying to actually get them reading right now. They're possibly going to be working very soon. They're trying to get numbers off of them now.
Anyone else? I have a question. Okay.
on what we've been talking about right
Got it.
here is
Hang on.
communication. And that's my question is how would you, if you're all, whoever's elected, how would you communicate between the mayor, the city hall, and the council? And if there is an issue, how would you resolve it? Would you resolve it inside house, or would you bring somebody from outside to resolve it? That's my question, is there's a lot of conflict.
You want to add to that?
I kind of want to add to what he said. How I've seen a lot of things, and I don't know all of you personally, but I've seen a lot of things on Facebook and at meetings, and I feel like everybody just attacks each other all the time, and nothing gets done. So with what she said, how will you guys put your feelings aside